Hi friends, this is Terry from the Frugal Connection. This afternoon what I want to do is walk you through kind of my process as I recipe test, as I come up with new recipes, as I take a recipe that's been tried and true and I've used in the past, and now I'm tweaking it to my new way of eating. So I'm not sure if this is going to work. It could be a total flop, and that's okay. Not everything we try is going to work, but I want to walk you through what exactly I'm going to do. So the first thing I have is a recipe that is called Summer Rhubarb Cake. I have made this every year for the last, 10, 12 years. We really like it. The rhubarb gives it just a little hint of sourness. Yet it's very sweet, it's very rich. So I'm not sure that this is going to work for this new way, but we will try it and see what happens. So what we have here is I have my rhubarb, and I will put the recipe down below once we finish this whole thing and see how it turns out. If it's a keeper, I will link the recipe. You can test it out yourself. So I have my rhubarb here that I picked from my mother and father-in-law's garden. They told me I could take some. And so I brought this home the other day. I cut it into tiny little pieces, and we are going to have this. I also have dates. I have 6 medjool dates, which I've already pitted. I have chickpea flour. Now you can use all-purpose flour. I am trying to avoid highly processed foods and things like white flour, white grains. So I chose chickpea flour, which is gluten-free. I like the flavor of it. Some people don't, and that's okay. If you would prefer to use all-purpose flour, you can do that. I have a flax egg, which is basically 1 tablespoon of flax meal mixed with 3 tablespoons of water. You stir it, you let it sit, it kind of plumps up, and this is the egg replacer. Plus, I also like to try to get flax, chia, walnuts in as many recipes as I can, because that gives me those fatty acids, the omega-3s that our bodies need. I have 1 cup of almond milk, and into it I put 1 teaspoon of 2 teaspoons of distilled white vinegar. The reason I did that is the original recipe calls for 1 cup of buttermilk, and so I wanted to kind of mimic that, and I'm going to use this and see how that works. I have 3/4 of a cup of maple syrup. I have 3 mashed bananas. I have cinnamon. I have cream of tartar, which will also give it that leavening agent, but it will also give it a little bit of sour note, which the buttermilk would give. And I also have baking soda, vanilla extract, and some tahini. The reason I'm using tahini, if I had almond butter, I would use almond butter. You could use peanut butter, but you don't want that strong peanutty taste in this. So I chose tahini because I don't have almond butter. But the mixture of the fat, the healthy fat in tahini, which is ground sesame paste, as well as the dates and the flax will kind of give it that, the missing note of not using butter or a unhealthy fat in this recipe. My original recipe called for brown sugar, butter, vanilla, egg, buttermilk, flour, baking soda, rhubarb. So what I have done is come up with this and see how it works. So the first thing I want to do is take my food processor, and the only reason I'm using the food processor is I want to get those dates ground up. So I'm going to mix them in with my banana. I figure I might as well add these things while I can. My 6 medjool dates. I'm going to add my maple syrup at this point too, just because I want to give it some liquid so that it'll grind up well. It'll form kind of the consistency of when you cream together butter and sugar. And I'm going to also add my vanilla in at this point. I'm going to add 1 teaspoon of vanilla. I make my own vanilla extract. That's why it's in this giant size bottle, which I haven't transferred into anything smaller yet. Okay, I'm going to put my lid on. I'm going to give this I'm going to blend it up, and it's going to get loud for just a minute or two. Okay, I think we got it to where we want it to be. And I'm going to transfer it into my bowl here. And you saw that that almost exploded all over my kitchen. That's why I should really do these ahead of time. I shouldn't experiment on camera, but I thought, why not? This is what normal people do. They test things, they try them. If they don't work, they don't work. But you won't know unless you try, right? All right. All right, I want to get all this out of here. That's why I like these silicone spatulas, because they really are good at getting every last little drop out. You know, the reason I'm doing these kind of recipes too is to show that it doesn't have to cost a ton of money. You know, sometimes people say, well, this way of eating's too hard to do, so I can't do it. And I just want to show that you can, and it's just simple ingredients that most people have in their kitchens. Like the dates, I find them now at Aldi, and Aldi's been great. We have an Aldi near us, and they're starting to carry more and more of these type of foods. So I just get a big old bag of dates. Sometimes I'll pick up 2. I store them in an airtight container in my refrigerator. Once you open them, you do need to refrigerate them. I learned that the hard way. Okay, so here is my banana, date, maple syrup, vanilla mixture. Now, what I'm going to add to this is my flax egg. I'm going to add the almond milk with the added vinegar. Sorry, I couldn't think of the word. That's going in there. I'm going to add 3 tablespoons of tahini. And again, you can use almond butter. I wouldn't necessarily recommend using peanut butter unless you want it to taste peanut buttery, but I don't think peanut butter and rhubarb go together too well. So I have 3 of these. And all that does is this tahini is ground sesame paste. And it is a fat, but it's a healthy fat. And it will give you more of that texture you're looking for when you're adding in butter and eggs and dairy and all that kind of thing. It's just a way to do it, get the texture without the bad stuff. Okay, so let me give this a stir. Kind of mix it all together. I want to get it all incorporated well in there together. And this is generally a very no-fuss cake. Like even the original recipe, it was so simple. I would throw it all together in my KitchenAid mixer, mix it up, pour it in a pan, bake it, it's done. Very easy. You don't have to fuss with a lot of stuff. Okay, so that's all mixed in there well. And now what I'm going to do, and I'm not sure if you can see this, like it's hard. I'm manning the camera by myself. So there's your mixture. And now what I'm going to add to this is my chickpea flour. I'm also going, where's my spoons? Okay. I'm going to add in my 1 teaspoon is wet. So I'm going to do, I want 1 teaspoon of baking soda, but I'm going to use a 1/2 spoon measure, so I need 2 of these. And the same thing with the cream of tartar. I'm going to add 2 of these to make 1 teaspoon. And I'm also going to do 1 teaspoon of cinnamon. My original recipe did not call for cinnamon, but I love cinnamon. And I think it's a great addition to this recipe. All right, 2. All right. So that's done. So now you just stir in your dry ingredients till it's well mixed together. And this is kind of what I do. I just kind of take an original recipe that I had and see where I can substitute to get rid of the fat that's in it, the unhealthy saturated fats, which I don't want. And, you know, so I'm not doing oils or anything like that. And I also, at the moment, I'm not doing dairy because it's plant-based whole food. So if you're not vegan and you don't mind the dairy, you can just add the regular buttermilk instead of what I did. Okay, so this is all incorporated well. And now all I'm going to do is take my rhubarb and I'm going to dump that in as well. Now again, I'm not sure how this is going to turn out. Rhubarb is quite tart, and my original recipe called for 1.5 cups of brown sugar, which we've omitted. But what we have put in here instead is 3/4 cup of maple syrup and 6 dates. So I will see if that is enough to give it enough sweetness. And if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. But at least I tried, right? So I'm taking a 9x13 pan. My oven is preheated to 350 degrees. I did end up taking a little bit of shortening and greasing this pan. You can skip that. You can actually just get a piece of parchment paper and lay the parchment paper down so you don't have to use any oil to grease or anything. But this is what I'm doing. And one thing that's really cool is the vinegar and the almond milk that I mixed together and let stand for a little bit. It's starting to bubble up in here. So it's doing what it's supposed to do. It's giving it that leavening agent. All right, so now I'm going to pour all this in the pan. Which fills it up nicely, and it looks about the right consistency. It's a little thinner than when I have made it in the past. Let me mix that in there. Okay, so I'm going to pop this in the oven, and we are going to cook it for 35 minutes. If it needs a little longer, which it may, just because the consistency is going to be a bit different than the normal recipe, the original recipe. And I will meet you back here when it's done, and we'll see how it turns out, okay? Hi friends, welcome back. Cake turned out perfect. I mean, it looks perfect. It does have a crack in the middle, but that's because I kept fiddling around and opening the oven door and checking it to make sure it was cooking properly or wasn't getting overdone. But that's okay. This is just a very simple, easy, quick cake. You also could have this for breakfast. There's nothing in it that is bad. So I just think it would be great. Now I'm going to cut into it. It's still very hot, but I can't wait, and I want to test it for you guys to see what it's like. So I'm just going to cut myself a piece here. If I waited and had patience, it would probably come out of the pan a lot easier, but it doesn't matter. All right, let's see what we got. Going to fall to pieces on me here, I can tell, because I'm cutting in it when it's too hot. You're really supposed to wait until it's done. Now, because it has fruit in it, it is a fruit cake. It has banana in it and the dates and everything, so it's not going to be quite the same as other cake, but I shouldn't even say that, because the reality is if I waited till it was totally cool to cut into it, it would be fine. But yeah, as you can see, I made a mess. But taste is half the thing here. So as you can see, I don't know if you can see that. It looks great. It's going to be hot. It's really good. I think it's just the right sweetness. It's a little less sweet than the original recipe because the original recipe had 1.5 cups of sugar. And this took, I gave 3/4 cup of maple syrup. You could probably add a little more if you wanted to, but I like it. The rhubarb is tart, which you want, but it's mixed with a hint of sweetness. It's really good. So there you have it. Summer rhubarb cake. That's plant-based, whole foods, no sugar, no dairy, no gluten. Really good. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to type up the recipe. I will put it on my blog. I will put the link below in the chat box or the description box down below in the video. You can find other recipes in my new cookbook, Simple and Nutritious. This is 52 plant-based whole food recipes. I will put this link down below too. You can find it on Amazon under my name, Terry Grow. And I have other tips and recipes and blog posts on my website, thefrugalconnection.com. If you like this video, you can hit the subscribe button and you can like it and you can share it. And that's how the word gets out. I have been eating this way for 10 months now. I've lost 70 pounds. I went to the doctor a couple weeks ago and I had all my blood work done, which I just got all the results back. Everything's in the normal range. Like all my numbers. And before that, I was off the charts with my glucose, with vitamin D deficiency, I had fatty liver disease, non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. I was pre-diabetic, high blood pressure. I'm off all my medications. My numbers are normal. I feel great. And I just want to encourage you to try to incorporate some of these changes into your lifestyle. And one way to do that is to do what, like I showed you today, just take a recipe that you normally would use, see ways, you can do all kinds of research online, see ways that you can substitute things to get rid of some of the unhealthy issues in many, especially many desserts, which are the processed sugars, the fats, oils, all those type of things. But that you can definitely cook this way. Things turn out really well. They may not be exactly the way they were before, but it gives you the ability to have some of those sweet things that you want without the guilt. So I just want to encourage you today. Thank you for watching. I hope you have a great day, and I'll see you in the next video.